Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great evening. Today, we are doing 4 lives or 3 lives in the matter of 24 hours. Guys, I like putting out a lot of this content just back to back for you guys when I have the time because I just never know when I'm going to be available again. So sometimes I am on here for a few weeks at a time, and then I may disappear for a couple months. But it's usually because I'm working in the business on my clients' businesses and um, basically just doing the business of real estate. And sometimes, the days get away from me. I end up working on deals, and sometimes the deals, man, they take so long to put together. So we're going to have a great live today, guys. I'm actually going to talk about hiring acquisitions managers. So I'm going to show you guys just on the back end what that looks like. So this morning, the last live we did, if you guys didn't catch that, go check that out. We actually discussed hiring your texting managers, putting those people in place. Right now, what we're going to discuss is hiring your acquisition specialists. Okay. And we're going to go through that. So I'm going to post this in my Facebook group and just make sure I'm looking good on all channels. And then we will go from there. So as people come in, just let me know where you guys are from, who we got in the chat here. Drop any questions you have. So drop any questions you have in the chat, guys. So again, today we're going to go over hiring acquisitions managers. So again, we went over texting managers. Now we're going to go over AMs. So I'm going to show you guys how I recruit these people. I was using Indeed, but Indeed's been funny lately. So I'm using ZipRecruiter right now and also sourcing them just through some other people, but mainly ZipRecruiter. So I'll show you guys what that looks like. And I'll show you guys just, man, I wonder if I could pull up an interview I did today, an interview that actually sucked. Oh my gosh. Guys, hopefully you can hear me in this interview, but I'm going to share my screen with you. And I want to you guys need to let me know if you could hear this interview because I'm going to go through and basically audit this interview. So let me go open up my Gmail, find this. Okay, cool. But before I do that, let me make sure I'm posted in my Facebook group. 1 second, guys. I think majority of you guys joined via YouTube, but still, I just need to make sure I'm posting this in my Facebook group in case there are some people that are not following me on YouTube. So give me 1 second here. Okay. I can't spell acquisitions right for the life of me. Okay, cool. All right, so Jermaine asked a question. Hey, CZ, can you go over one more time how you pick your market and zip codes? I was trying to find the video of you doing it live. My friend. So Jermaine, I actually was going to call you today. I've been calling a lot of people that have been interacting with my content just to show them some love. If I get around to it, I will. But I have a lot to go over today on this live, prepared for acquisitions managers. Okay, but I may go live tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock and actually discuss that. So let's put a pin on that. All right. But any other questions you have, I'll go over. Winston, what's going on, man? OG over here. All right, guys, let me make sure I'm looking good on Facebook. I'm looking good on YouTube. Again, for anybody who's new, I stream on like 3 different platforms. So I have to make sure everything's good before we get started. I don't want to leave anybody out. All right, let's hop into it. All right, guys. So today what we're going to go over is actually hiring acquisitions manager. So let me know. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Let me know if you can hear this recording, because it would be so cool for you guys to be able to actually see a live acquisitions interview I did today, and why this person wasn't qualified. Awesome. So my name is CC Garland. My company is Build to Scale Real Estate. I've been an investor for 9 years. Over the last several years, I have done consulting. So I do actively still do deals. But what I do right now is help investors build their marketing. And hey, can you guys hear that video? Can you hear that? What's on the video screen? I need to know. I need to know. I can hear it, but I need to know. Okay, you can hear it well. Okay, so it doesn't sound like it's coming from my speakers, right? If so, dope. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Caritha. So good hearing from you, my friend. All right, guys, let's get it. Okay, cool. So before I show you guys that, let me open up this guy's resume, and I'm just going to get right into the meat of things, okay? And this is a lot better than me just sharing notes with you all. So what I do on a daily basis is I spend most of my day hiring, like doing interviews. Okay. So right now, I'm always looking for talent, and we have to prepare ourselves in times of high turnover. And really, some of these positions, like for instance, with acquisitions, guys, we don't really know who we're getting until we actually get them in that seat. So in my company, I do the acquisitions interviews. My operations manager, she does my interviews for my cold callers and for our operations managers and texting specialists. So I get the final thumbs up on those, but usually if she says they're a good fit, they're a good fit. Like she just hired my most recent operations manager for me. Okay. So to work underneath her, but I hire all the acquisitions managers. I usually work with them tightly. So we need to make sure we're getting a good fit. Now, what am I looking for with an acquisitions manager, guys? Guys, I'm looking to make sure that this person is competent on real estate investing. So some things I don't like seeing are if they work for a realty company, right? So if they work for as a real estate agent or work in inside sales, that's not really like acquisitions terminology. I want somebody who was either a closer or work for a home buyer or, X, Y, and Z investments. Okay. That's who really I'm looking for in this position. Okay. I don't mind if they had any, like experience before doing, other things that weren't related to real estate, but I like seeing them have at least 3 years of experience in acquisitions. This guy is pretty light. So you can see he started in May of 2022 as a cold caller. Then he was promoted to an acquisitions manager after overachieving. When I saw that, I was like, dude, really? We'll talk about embellishment. The CEO saw a lot of potential in my sales pitch. I thought would be use closing deals. Okay, be best use closing deals. Was able to close my first deal that with that company within my first week as an acquisitions manager. Was also responsible for managing leads, setting up appointments, confirming lead details and motivation, setting up future follow-ups. Okay, cool. Again, I'm going to so I'm trying to respect this guy's privacy here. So I don't want to show his details here. So, because I'm about to flame this guy. Okay, let me share this with you guys. Just a screenshot. Okay, cool. And I don't think I have his email or anything in this recording. Okay, cool. All right, good. Sorry, I just needed to hide that. So, guys, with this person right here, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, everything looks good from the resume. And what we do often as investors, are anybody who doesn't really have any experience hiring, we go off the resume, guys. And that doesn't tell the story at all because people embellish. Okay. So I tell my team members, my operations manager, she has to pre-screen and make sure that they're using acquisitions, investor type lingo. So he looked a little light here when it came to the his experience. Before this, he didn't do anything related to real estate before 2022. He was in this job for a little over a year, like a year and a half, which I like seeing. And then he became a closer. It was sort of a warning sign for me. He was only here from March 2024 to June 2024. And then he was in this company from July 2024 to September 2024. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I give people the benefit of the doubt, but I'm thinking, okay, he probably spent most of his time cold calling in this position right here. And this Proper Business Solutions in Cairo, Georgia, excuse me. Oh, huh. That's Cairo. My family's from there. That's interesting. Okay. And then in Tampa, he probably main responsibilities were setting appointments, locking up deals, push through CRM. So he's saying all the right things here. And I like that. And so anybody who looks like they have acquisitions experience, again, I like seeing them have more than 3 years of experience. I'll go ahead and set up an interview with them. Okay, so what are the next steps, guys? We send them an interview link through Google Meet, and then they have to show up. I only give the people 10 minutes to actually get on the call. If it takes them longer than 10 minutes, guys, I'm not rocking with it. I'm not rocking with it if it takes longer than 10 minutes here, okay, for them to get on the call. So I want to go back and show you guys what this looks like. So let's go ahead and get in the interview, and I'm going to start. I'm going to make some comments throughout this interview. This guy was not very good. Basically build their teams from scratch, right? So a lot of investors I work with, they're closing several deals a month or either a quarter or a year, but they're having trouble basically just systematizing it, right? A lot of them are burned out. So what I'm doing right now is I'm hiring acquisitions people, operations people. I'm also hiring dispositions people for a lot of my clients, but I mainly need acquisitions folks, okay, which is why we're speaking right now. So I'd like to actually go over your resume here, and we can just take it from there. So I see you have a lot of experience in acquisitions, which I love seeing. I've been getting a lot of people apply to this job that have been like realtors, and they've done inside sales, or they're like cold callers. Guys, I'm looking for a closer, and you look like that guy. So what I'd like to do is just wherever you feel comfortable, start off with where you started in your real estate journey, and just go over your job experience over years and why you think you're a good fit for this position.
I think my job experience specifically speaking, with sales started about 5 years ago. I actually have a master's degree in medical management and information technology, and one of my friends recommended that I kind of take advantage of a lot of the information that I've gathered about management, and obviously, as well as my knowledge in in English as well, and my accent and all that stuff, and kind of try to use it somewhere else as well.
Yeah,
as a side gig, and that's essentially how I started getting into sales. I did door to door, I did over the phone, I did call center jobs, I did cold calling, and at one time I got introduced to a company, an outsourcing company.
I'm going to play this at 1.5 speed, so I'm going to speed it up here, guys, okay?
in Egypt and started taking jobs as a cold caller. I was a cold caller for about a month before I got promoted to a lead management position. Essentially, I was responsible to kind of sell potential in my language and how I handle the phone calls, how I handle the sellers over the phone, and they saw this guy's pretty good. Maybe give him a shot. And I was like, of course, I'll promotion. I'll take a promotion. And I obviously wanted to kind of work on myself and take every single opportunity to kind of grow and learn. So I took that job, I took that position, took that promotion, and started working my way up. I've done lead management. I obviously took training. I dabbled a little bit in disposition as well. I took disposition jobs, and I've been working as a closer ever since. That's pretty much how it went. Every single opportunity that was presented to me, with training, with an opportunity to work with a high-profile company or a client, whichever was presented to me, I gladly took it and tried to learn as much information as possible. Tried to, especially in this kind of economy, in this kind of market, you always need to be able to learn, to adapt to different challenges, different situations. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. So what has you looking for new employment right now?
Pretty much as everything else. Just wanted to. I'm looking for an opportunity.
Okay, I'll stop there. So far, so good. So this guy's from Egypt. He has a very neutral accent. I like that. A little bit dry initially, but again, I don't judge a book by its cover. He may sound differently on the phone, and I've heard some acquisitions managers who were just very even keel and just almost monotone do really good on the phone. So I'm not going to judge him on that. I am looking at competency. And so I'm going to skip around here to the part where I'm grilling him. We'll play it a little bit more, and then you guys will start seeing where the rails fall off in this interview. Okay.
For me to grow, to learn more, and obviously to kind of improve on a personal and financial level as well.
I see. Okay. So based off of your experience, it looks like you're heavy on acquisitions, but you did do dispositions as well. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, essentially what that was about is it was a really nice client that I worked with, and she was based in Texas, Houston, Texas, to be more specific. She had her process already set up in terms of acquisitions, but the way she got rid of the deals, or she moved the deals, was through finding agents in whatever the deal was. And obviously, as successful as that was, she was losing a lot of money hiring agents, and sometimes it took a lot more time to move a deal. So she thought, maybe why don't I do that myself? Why not just hire someone to kind of help me with the process, and we'll just figure out throughout the way. So that's pretty much what that was. I took a job. We both.
So I asked him about dispositions. As an investor, I would just start going into, I found a buyer for this. I found a buyer for that. I helped move this property to a buyer, and I helped negotiate the buyer up, from a 20K assignment to a 40K assignment. My guys over here talking about realtors. It's like, what are you talking about? And guys, these days I have no patience for it. I don't have any patience for anybody that I'm on a call with, and they don't sound like they know what they're talking about, and they're incoherent. I'm very matter of fact. Publicly, guys, for the most part, pretty jovial person. But guys, you're about to get the real deal Holyfield from me on this call, especially at the end. But when I'm internal with my team, or if I'm talking to somebody right now, like when stuff needs to get done, we don't have any time for pleasantries. I don't have any respect for anybody who's wasting my time, who's BSing on a call. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit and let's see what's up here. Okay, Jermaine, we see eye to eye, brother. Let's get back to it.
Learned a lot throughout the process. We used Facebook, we used InvestorLift. What kind of market is there in that specific area? I would look for, usually they're promoting themselves. Usually they're on websites, Facebook, essentially any sort of platform that you may be able to use to find someone. There's a lot of platforms.
how do you know if they would have investors, or would you just like get a list and just cold call them and put the property to them?
Well, here's the thing about agents, and here's the thing about wanting to sell a property. You're not always going to sell the property to an investor. In some cases, you might even make more money selling the property to an actual person, like an actual family, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That would make the process a whole lot easier, especially. But the only thing, you need to make sure that they're able to afford it, and they're willing to move the process as soon as possible. So it's a matter of finding the right fit. That's all.
I agree. Okay, great. So I wanted to focus on acquisitions heavily, but since we were talking about that, I wanted to, chat about that. So let's go in and talk about acquisition. So, scenario based. So let's just say you're working with a new client, a new business owner, or not they're new, but they have 1,000 leads in their CRM. Okay. And these leads could be from cold calling, text messaging, inbound PPC, PPL. What would you do starting off to try to identify the motivated leads, and then how many leads do you think it'll take for you to get a contract out of it?
The best way to find out is simply call the leads. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
If you start calling the leads, obviously sometimes that may take time. It depends on how big the team is.
Yeah.
If I'm only one on board, usually that takes. It depends on the quality of the leads. Depends on if I'm getting any answers. Depends on if there's any follow-ups. But usually, if all is well, I might be able to make about maybe 100 to 200 calls a day. So if it's 1,000, maybe 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Guys, that's bogus. He said he could make 100 calls a day. What did this man say? Give me a second. Let me.
Usually that takes simply call the leads. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
If you start calling the leads, obviously sometimes that may take time. It depends on how big the team is.
Yeah.
If I'm only one on board, usually that takes. It depends on the quality of the leads. Depends on if I'm getting any answers. Depends on if there's any follow-ups. But usually, if all is well, I might be able to make about maybe 100 to 200 calls a day. So if it's
No, guys, no. So let me put them in a more flattering shot here, and then we'll talk about this.
1,000, maybe.
Okay. So as an acquisitions manager, he says he should be able to do 100 to 200 calls a day. Guys, you need to know what's the benchmarks you're aiming for in these positions. As an acquisitions manager, 50 leads, maybe 70 leads a day, calling and not connections is probably what you're going to be able to get to. He's talking about cold calling. And so if you've been an acquisitions manager for a while, you're going to know these numbers. Okay? You're going to know these numbers, all right? Yeah, Jermaine's laughing because he knows this guy's full of shit. Excuse my language, guys. I try to keep my language at a minimum. I know you guys may have me on speaker, but guys, this guy's full of it, man. Yo, he said he could do 100 calls a day. Guys, as an acquisitions manager, no. And he's being very ambiguous with his answers. Again, I've interviewed hundreds of people over my time, probably 500-600 people, managed, trained dozens, hundreds of VAs as well, and acquisitions managers. And I can tell when they're messing around with me. I really should have probably ended the interview right then. But again, I was trying to be diplomatic, but that's going out the window because I don't have time for all this stuff, right? Really, if I get on the call and somebody's just not the good fit, I'm just going to say, I don't want to waste your time or my time and just go. And I'm going to say that towards the end of the interview. So we're going to skip around. We're not going to watch this whole thing because I do want to show you guys like how I'm sourcing these people and then what a good interview looks like. Hey, wait till then, guys. I'm going to show you what an excellent interview looks like, okay? And then we'll go from there.
4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
So,
just to be done with the list, obviously there will be follow-ups. There will be essentially you're building a pipeline. You're not just making calls. You're not just reaching out to owners. You're building a pipeline. You're making some sort of an ecosystem for you to work on at a different time. If that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I want to go over now is actually, I I want you to comp out a property. I'm gonna give you an address, and then I want you to go through a process of generating an offer for it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
So let me grab a property here.
So what I'm doing now is I'm giving them a property to comp out, and you're going to really start seeing this guy fumble around. Okay. So I do competency tests. Guys, I'm not on the call just like asking them, well, what's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? Guys, no, we're getting into it. We're getting into it on these calls. I need to know if you know what you're talking about so I don't waste my time paying you and waste my time training you as well. Because I only have 4 months to be on board with my clients, and anything after that is free labor, and I don't do that.
Okay, cool. I think this is a good one. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do this. So I'm going to place this in chat, all right? And then if you want, can share your screen, go through that process, and then walk me through how you would generate an offer to that person. Okay?
Okay. Let me look up the address real quick. Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Okay. Let's see.
Yep, I got you.
So we got this property over here, 3 beds, 2 baths, 1,500 square feet, single family, built in 1940. Let's see if no pictures around. Seems in okay shape. Roof might be a little bit out of date. What about the neighborhood? Okay. So the first thing that I personally like to do is just take an overview look, like take a look at the property from the exterior, and also see if this is a recent picture or not. I usually find out that through usually there is a date or a year at least down there. So that's personally what I like to just take an overview look of the property, kind of assess what's going on, and take a look at the neighborhood as well. See if there is any sort of if the neighborhood has been abandoned, or if there's what kind of carpet deal they got going on over there. You know. The second thing that I personally like to use, if there is if there is no prop stream or anything like that, I usually look at properties that got sold in that specific neighborhood, which is you could do through like going up, clicking on this map, neighborhood. Usually layers.
Guys, this guy's fumbling around. It shouldn't be that hard. What's the ARV of the property? Like, what are you doing? He doesn't know what he's doing. Let's continue.
Okay, it looks like the kind of changed it. Oh, this is not Redfin.
No.
This is actually Realtor. Okay, this is Redfin. So pretty much the same process. Let me change.
Okay, generate an offer for it. Generate an offer. I don't need to see all the nuances. Just what would the offer be? Based
The
off
offer. Okay. offer, similar build quality, age, and obviously assume worst case scenario in terms of condition unless told otherwise.
Mhm.
And I took into account our exit strategy. How are we going to get rid of this property? How are we going to sell it through listing, a cash offer? What is it going to be? And as soon as I found that out, I kind of estimate what our fees will be, what are we going to be spending on the property, if there's going to be any repairs, any fees, any closing costs, title fees, commissions, anything like that, repairs. And obviously I take into account our profits if we're going to need to make maybe about $10,000-$20,000. So that will bring us to about we'd need to be lower than $90,000 for this deal to work. Lower than 90.
Lower than 90. So
Yeah.
what?
Anything below that number would work.
Okay. What comps were you using? What do you think the ARV of it would be?
Our ARV would be around 130.
Okay. You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, guys, let's pause here. So my man said the ARV is 130 and we need to be at 90 or below. Number one, that's a huge range. Okay. That's a huge range. And in what world we're generating a cash offer would you need to be at? Okay, so 90, let's just do 90K, 90,000 divided by 130. And let's just see what percentage that is. So that's 69%. That's basically 70% of ARV. No, guys, on a cash offer, you guys know this. I would just do quick and dirty. If he thinks ARV is 130, just divide it by 2, right? 65K. There was nothing over there really selling for, because I was on Zillow looking it up and doing my comp as well when he was doing it. There was nothing in that area that was selling for 130 in that square footage. I would say probably that house would go for 115 to 120K. And cash, it would probably have gone for maybe like 45 to 50. Those were like the cash comps. But he said 90 and below. I said, dude, that's a huge range. I said, we're doing a cash offer. Yeah, yikes, bro. Winston said, yikes. Exactly. Guys, these are the things that I go through on calls with acquisitions managers. Again, I'm not going over, well, tell me about yourself. Well, tell me what you think an acquisitions manager should be doing. You know, what do you think their greatest strengths are? No, I'm going to put their Ash on the hot seat and see if they actually know what they're talking about. He didn't like that very much. Let's continue.
To justify that 130K.
Here's the thing. When I was looking,
you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
To justify that 130K.
Here's the thing. When I was looking at the neighborhood, I wasn't able to find some of the properties exactly similar to ours in terms of condition, in terms of size, and build quality. So I took a bunch of properties similar to ours, and I kind of got a median, like a middle number of an average per se of what kind of sale range the property would be if it got sold. And I took into consideration the fees or expenditure that I previously mentioned. And so our ARV would be around 130. And if we need to make a profit on this property, we need to sell this property or need to buy this property lower than 90. So anything lower than 90 would work.
But that's a huge range. So I need to know specifically, like, what you would offer them, right? Anything lower than 90, that's like me saying anything lower than like 120. So like, what would be even like a range plus or minus percentage?
If 90 would work. Like if we were able to like this property at 90, that would work.
You think we could sell it to an investor for 100K if the ARV is 130?
Possibly. But the thing is, there hasn't been there hasn't been a lot of movement in that specific area. Like I'm not seeing properties being sold, a lot of properties being sold in that specific neighborhood. Maybe
That's crazy. He said, I asked him if he thinks that we can sell the house to an investor for $100K, right? $10,000 profit if the ARV's 130. Guys, I should have just closed my laptop and ended it right there. That's all I needed to know. I spent way too much time on this interview, but that confirmed it for me. So guys, if you're doing these interviews, don't be ashamed to put them to the test on the call, regardless of how qualified they look or what they say their credentials were, or they did this course, they did that, this training. Nah, man. Hey, I want to know if you actually do the job. Everybody's an equal when they come through these doors, regardless of your background. You're the one looking for a job. I'm the one paying you. Okay. So let's go a little bit further. And then I'm going to, you guys are going to see how this interview ended.
around, like maybe further off from us, and properties a little bit better looking than us as well. But like if we, like some of these properties are either were built around the same age or maybe recently renovated. So our property hasn't been renovated, so it needs to be lower. If we're able to, we need to be able to lock the property lower than 90 to actually.
What's your contract percentage? So how many contracts have you locked up in your lifetime?
Well, that'd be a lot. To be honest, I haven't really counted. Like I don't count every single contract. This is like, my main bread and butter, my job. I don't keep track, but usually I'd say I make about 10 offers, 5 to 10 offers a day, usually with my other clients, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be getting 5 to 10 offers. I'll be locking up maybe 5 contracts a month around those numbers. Obviously, it depends on what kind of marketing you got going on, what kind of leads you bringing in, and obviously the market. So some markets are way too competitive than others. Like maybe I've worked in California, and we've been locking up deals every single day. Like in other places, maybe.
My guy said he worked in California. He was locking up deals every other day. Okay, dude. Yeah, clearly this guy's just not, he's not being truthful in his abilities. Okay. I asked him as well. I need to go back here and let me see.
5 to 10 offers a day.
I asked him as well, how many leads has he locked up in his lifetime? Okay, just give me a number. How many leads are you locking up? Excuse me, how many properties are you locking up every month or on average? In your lifetime, you should be able to say, you know what? And he's only been doing this for 2 years. I'll be able to say, you know what? I probably close maybe just conservatively 30 deals, about 2 per month since I've been doing this outside the times I haven't been working. So he's capping, guys. If he can't sit here and say, oh, I've locked up 2 deals per month. And if he can't just say how many he's locked up, that tells me you locked up none. Yeah. And Jermaine said, yeah, ain't no way you're unemployed closing 5 deals. Exactly. In California. He's just talking, man. He's just rambling at this point.
Market. Some markets every single day. Like in other places, maybe down the south, movement is a little bit slower.
Absolutely. So question for you. So I'm just looking at your resume here. So, okay, give me a scenario. It could be your most recent lead deal that you closed, but walk me through a deal that you actually closed that you're most proud of. I need specifics. What was the area? You don't have to give me the address. What was the ARV? How did you contract it? How did you get the seller to sign the contract? What were the seller's motivations? Let's walk through that, okay? And if you did dispo, let's talk about that as well, okay?
Yeah, I think one of the deals that I'm most proud of is a deal that the entire team that I was working with unable to lock up the deal. The guy was being pretty tough. Like he was like kind of ignoring us, ghosting us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just he felt like he wanted to sell, but just didn't make the move. He just wanted to find. He just needed a final push. So I got on the phone with the guy. I reran the numbers again. To be honest, I don't remember exact specific numbers, but I remember.
Pump the brakes, guys. I know on most of the deals that stand out to me what the numbers are. I can tell you the numbers on the first deal that I closed, 1917 Quitman Street, North Charleston, South Carolina, 29405. That was September of 2015. It was a $3,000 assignment. I've done well over 300 deals since then. Almost 10 years later, I still remember the numbers. And you're doing this for 2 years and you don't remember the numbers? I remember my first deal I closed. I remember my second deal I closed, 1990 Delaware Avenue. It was a lot. I contracted for $3K. I flipped it to an investor. It was in Union Heights, South Carolina. That was for $3,000. Okay. I remember my third deal I closed. It was a 26 lot prop and / single family resident deal. That was when I actually, started catching my stride in real estate. It was supposed to close in January 2016 when I closed when I quit my job full time in Fayetteville, but it actually closed in March. And that was a pretty stressful time, but I learned a lot. Fourth deal, that's when I started pursuing 881 Ashley Avenue, but I didn't close that one until like later that year. But we got that under contract, I think, in like May. But I remember my first like 3 deals. So you can't tell me you don't remember like a deal in the past year or 2 years, bro. It's nonsense. I remember a deal that stands out to me. It was, I don't remember the address, but I remember the numbers. It was a property that is unique because it was a blue home in Union Heights. I think this was in 2017. A hurricane was about to come through. It was like actually a 7-day close. It was something Hugo Avenue. I have the HUD, I think. It was something Hugo Avenue. It was in Union Heights, South Carolina as well, or North Charleston and South Carolina as well. And we bought it from an LLC owner. And we wholesaled it to an LLC owner. We closed it with attorney Chard, and it was literally a 7-day close. So we bought it for $7K, and then we assigned it for a $7K assignment. It was like one of my quickest assignments that we ever did. I felt like I was actually, one of those, like, we buy houses in 7 days. We literally got the deal closed in 7 days from contract to close. But the catalyst for us really getting it closed that quickly was because there was this big storm coming in. And then our attorney was like, hey, let's try to close this up before then. If not, it would have probably taken 2 weeks. So I remember most of my really big deals, and the fact that you can't name one and give me the numbers or specifics, and you've only been doing this for 2 years, sort of wishy-washy, doesn't really sit well with me. You're lying, basically. You're embellishing. You're not qualified. I majored in BS. You can't BS a BSer. I'm a finesser. You can't finesse a finesser. Okay, let's move forward.
We made on that specific property, we made about $40,000 of profit on that specific property. That's what I remember. And I hopped on the phone. I was like, yeah, dude, you need to sell this property. Otherwise, you're going to lose the house. You're already in debt. And like, I built a ton of rapport with the guy. So I was able to talk freely with him and build a ton of rapport. I showed him that this is the only way. Like, sales is about solving a problem. I kind of reassured him, and I told him that we understand the kind of position he'd be in. And as a trade-off, I told him, if you sign this right away, and I obviously talked to management before I see if I could do this, talk to management, I'd be like, if we're able to give this guy $2,000 right now, we might be able to make $40,000 down the road. That's easy money. So we gave him the $2,000 as soon as we signed the contract, and we made sure that this is a solid deal. The money was his, and the property was ours, and that was a pretty easy deal. Because once you understand the resolution, what you need to do, and the problem, once you figure out what kind of problem that owner, buyer, what seller has, it's pretty much the same thing. If it's a seller, a buyer, an owner, whatever it be, once you figure out what they need, what kind of problem they have, what you need to figure it out, it's smooth sailing from there. You just need to be more strategic when you're going through solutions.
Gotcha. Okay, I appreciate that. Hey, man, I'm going to be honest. I don't think you're going to be a good fit. I just need more specifics, right? More concrete information. I don't want to waste your time anymore. But I really was looking for, somebody who knows how to give more specific comps here and a little bit more competency, okay? But I appreciate your time. Thank you.
So so guys, he actually hung up. Like as soon as I told him, hey man, we're going in a different direction, he like hung up on me. He didn't even like let me finish. So, that just told me everything I needed to know. So he just shut the interview off. It was crazy. So guys, some takeaways from that interview are this. And let me know anything that stood out to you guys, why you don't think he would have been a good fit. Again, his resume, exactly, dropped it all the way down, bro. I don't play any games, man. I don't want to waste my time or their time, mainly my time, to be honest. I just say that just to sound like a nice guy, but I don't want my time wasted. And then I'll tell them if they're not a good fit on the call, because I don't want my operations manager, emailing them later and being like, oh, you're not a good fit. We just cut through all the BS. So I was like, hey, man, not a good fit. Let's get off the call. Boom. Guys, I love hiring and I love firing people. I love firing people. I do it without any really remorse. And if you need me to fire somebody, just bring me in your company and let me fire them for you. Like, I could be that bad guy. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. So guys, that person just wasn't a good fit. Didn't waste my time anymore. And why? You guys tell me in the comments why you didn't think he was a good fit. For me personally, I found that he just wasn't clear in his answers, guys. He was very ambiguous whenever I gave him the competency exercise. With my acquisition specialist, guys, we are testing their competency. Okay. So question, Danny, thanks for joining, my friend. Where did you find these VAs? Sorry, I missed the beginning of your live. All good, man. This is recorded. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you can watch the beginning, right? As soon as it's finished. All right. But yeah, so my acquisitions people, guys, I'm getting them from ZipRecruiter. So, and this is a full-time thing, guys. I'll be honest. If I didn't have my operations team to pre-screen these individuals, I would be very, very, it would just take me a long time to get these people on board. And honestly, I have not even logged into ZipRecruiter in a while. So let me see here. Let me get the login here, and then I'll show you guys just what the backend looks like, because I do want to show you guys what a good applicant looks like. Okay, somebody who I hired and who's been working with us for a while. Okay. ZipRecruiter password. So my ops team has all this stuff. Man, I logged out of this thing. Let me check my email. Give me 1 second, guys. ZipRecruiter login. I was using Indeed, guys, but to be honest, Indeed's been really messing up lately. They just been making me jump through a lot of hoops to basically get somebody on board, to post applicants. I was fighting with them for over a month, and now I'm just like, I'm not even dealing with it. Guys, I don't have the login on me. Again, my operations team, they're the ones who log in, and then they just send me the resumes. Okay. So, and my ops team is off right now, so I don't have access to that right now. They do, but I don't. But anyway, with that being said, that person wasn't a good fit because they were ambiguous on the call. They didn't answer my competency questions properly, and they were very honestly monotone, right? I like the fact that he didn't have a thick accent, even if he was from Egypt. He didn't have a thick accent. There was another guy I interviewed from Egypt, and he had a competency, enthusiasm, but he had a too thick of an accent. It sounded like he could have been maybe like Latino, but to be honest, it sounded more like not Arabic, but Indian. And that's not a good accent to call from. It's just not. Okay. Again, guys, I hope you guys appreciate the fact that I am blunt with you guys, and I'm not doing the politically correct thing or saying the politically correct thing. And, hopefully I don't get canceled out here, but, I'm just telling you guys what's up. Right. Again, You know, if you want the sugar-coated, the proper answer, go somewhere else. But we don't sugarcoat things over here, all right? So next thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm actually going to go through an acquisitions interview with a guy that we actually hired, okay? And let's look at his resume, all right? His guy name is Carlos, and he's working with us right now. And he's doing a great job. Carlos resume. His name was Carlos Negrinis. Negrinis. Find his resume. I had this pulled up here. Okay, here we go. Cool. So let's look at this, guys. All right, this is my guy, Carlos. So let's look at this work experience. All right. So Carlos is in Costa Rica, either Costa Rica or Nicaragua. I think he's in Nicaragua. Okay. So acquisitions manager experience, Atlas Home Offer, LLC, and Tala, July 2023 to present. His responsibilities include identifying potential properties, conducting market research, negotiating purchase agreements, overseeing transactions, and maintaining relationships with key stakeholders. I like that language already. Okay. He excels at analyzing comparables and securing profitable wholesale deals while ensuring smooth transactions from start to finish for both the company and the seller. So I like the language I used there. He was a dispo manager. I got Rehabs LLC, November 2021 to 2023 as a dispo manager specializing in selling real estate contracts to investors. I mastered high ticket B2B negotiations. I like that. Leveraging exceptional follow-up skills, drive lucrative deals, excelled in navigating intricate transactions, fostering strong buyer relationships, and consistently delivering top-tier results through adept negotiation and persistent follow-through. Okay, that's cool. Acquisition specialist, cash house buyer. So, guys, going back to 2019. So 2019, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 5 years of experience. At a minimum, I like seeing my people have at least 3 years of experience. 5 is really what makes me feel great in the acquisitions role. Okay. In the acquisitions role. All right. Not cold calling, not lead management, but acquisitions. So he started as an acquisition manager in 2019 and it's unbroken all the way up until the present 2024. And he's working in an acquisitions role now. So as an acquisitions manager in real estate wholesaling, we love seeing that. I excelled in securing high ticket properties through expert negotiation and a consultative sales approach. My role demanded sharp organizational skills to streamline complex transactions, all while leveraging a deep understanding of the market to drive successful acquisitions and deliver sustainable value to the company. So I was already getting excited about bringing this guy on board. I was actually thinking about bringing him on board for my company to work in a more like a high ticket / acquisitions role for my clients. So when we bring people on, we do follow up for them because a lot of them have leads and it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for us to hire their acquisitions managers for them. So I have somebody on my team who goes in and they do acquisitions for my clients. So while we're hiring their full-time specialists, but one of my clients really needed an acquisitions manager. So I said, hey man, let's go ahead and place you in his company. So what we're going to do now is listen to his interview. And so we're going to see the contrast and it's going to be a sharp juxtaposition between the last interview I did and then this one. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. Go ahead and get started. Okay.
Sounds good.
I believe you emailed my team. Let's see, actually, okay. You have to forgive me. I just got off of a call with my team right before this.
That is.
I think that.
So you'll notice it'll say Antalya, but I have no idea what that is.
business consultation company. So I've been wholesaling myself for about 9 years, going on 10 years. And but I've been primarily consulting real estate investors, helping them set up their teams and their companies, coaching, mentoring, all that for the past 6 years. I consider myself a consultant, not a coach. I actually get people results, right? So that's what I do in my company. I have a team of about 10 people that I have on staff right now, but close to 7 clients and that I'm building teams up from the ground. And so each of my clients, they are doing anywhere from $50K to $200,000 monthly. But what's happening right now is they're basically doing everything themselves. They're solopreneurs, and they contact me in order to systematize the business and provide all the support that they need so they can do their acquisitions, dispositions, whatever they're great at, and they can just outsource the rest. So I go into the businesses, systematize their businesses, put an operations manager in place, and assist with facilitating the business owner with conducting team meetings, as well as getting familiar with running a company. 4 months. So anytime I bring a new in for support, and then by the time I'm gone, you're really comfortable with working with the employer. So that's a little bit about myself. I'd like to just go over your acquisitions experience. If we could start there. I didn't get the resume yet. I usually like referencing it. But if you could just provide me with an overview of your acquisitions experience or just your real estate experience, we'll go from there, okay?
All right, sounds good. Well, I actually have a ton of real estate experience. When I started, I moved back from the United States to Medellin about 16 years ago now. And when I moved back here, I started a real estate company here locally. So I was doing purchase and sales, buy and sells, and flipping properties, as well as the focus. A large focus was really around vacation rentals and furnished rentals and luxury rentals. I did that for about 6-7 years. Eventually, I sold the company. I got really good at sales in what I was doing. I really just became a passion. So I started doing courses, studying, kind of self-progressing. And I wanted to take that to a different level. So I opened up a call center.
Okay.
And in that call center, we ran multiple campaigns and worked with solar, the moving industry, financials, worked with all kinds of different industries. But we ended up having quite a few clients that were outsourcing their services to us, to having in-house real estate lead managers and cold callers and texters. So we were hosting those in-house. I started getting very familiar with the industry. We worked that for a couple of years, eventually moved the operation to a remote environment due to COVID. And during COVID, I learned a little bit more in regards to the acquisition side of things. And eventually one of my clients offered me to come in and do acquisitions.
Okay.
And so I jumped on it. I jumped on the opportunity, just considering COVID was kind of slowing things down. A lot of people, even though it was booming technically in the remote world, a lot of people were slowing down in real estate. There was just a lot going on. You couldn't get viewings in. There was a lot going on, and so we were kind of getting slower clients. So I figured I'd take it, part time, and then I just really loved it. I really enjoyed it. So much I ended up paying for the John Martinez training. I ended up paying for the Eric Brewer training.
Nice.
So I did, both the REI Sales Academy. I did the Eric Brewer Method Innovations. And then through other employers, I've also seen a couple of others like what was this last one? I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyways, I was doing another one. It was really cool. Results driven.
Oh, okay, perfect. Nice. Yes.
Yeah, results driven. So I did the whole results driven course, the entire course. Obviously, they wanted me to do the acquisitions, but I went through the entire course on my own.
Yeah.
And so lots of good stuff there. And then I've been doing this for maybe 5 years now. And it's been great. I started working with my client, who was really a friend of mine here from Medellin. And just because it was kind of like a friendship, we had a different way of communicating, and it got to the point where it was just becoming a little bit harsh between me and him.
Okay, guys. So already, for you guys who saw the other interview versus this one, I mean, it's like night and day, right? So our guy Carlos, he invested in himself. So he's from Medellin. He has a great voice, neutral accent. You know, he just sounds really good, natural speaker. He's also expressing his competency as well. He did the results driven training, Eric Brewer method, familiar with the 4 pillars. He's done a lot of self education, and I was immediately impressed with that. And you guys probably heard that. My ears perk up when he said that. I'm not going to play this whole interview, but I want you guys to just see the difference between somebody like him, who's extremely competent, and then somebody like the person that I also interviewed before. It's like night and day, guys. It's like night and day. So let's listen to a little bit more of this, okay? And then I'll wrap this up.
Both doing acquisitions and dispositions. That would be James Turner. He was originally based out of Houston, Texas. He married, moved up north, and just started working with construction materials and prefab homes and other things, and just kind of left wholesaling aside. So I ended up having to look for another job. Eventually landed with Atlas Home Offer.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can get this out to you.
Yeah, if you can, I'm gonna send you my email. You could do it at info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. I'd really like to go over your resume with you, my friend. I didn't realize you had this much experience. It's awesome.
I do, yeah. I had the
Yeah, he did not put all that experience that he was talking about in his resume, which was, you know, really impressive. So most people embellish, and he has such a lot of experience, so much experience, he just couldn't fit it all in. He just basically hit the highlights of the jobs that he worked with. So let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Garland CC at Gmail. What was the other one? Info at.
Okay, I have it right near. Actually, I have it. Okay, I have you right here, my friend. I have it right here. Yep. Okay, go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. And so, you know, I've locked down quite a number of deals, number of different markets and industries. I'm sorry, different markets. So, like, I've worked Columbus, I've worked Texas, I've worked North Carolina, I've worked Florida, I've worked Georgia, I've worked Philadelphia and Ohio, and so I have a vast experience in that sense. So I can adapt to any market. It's very easy for me to come in and start seeing the market trends and data and statistics and be able to comp and, you know, run reports and analytics. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time in a new market because you have to get familiar with certain zip codes, war zones, where to go, where not to go. But that, I think, that comes easily. That comes generally easily. You get a lot of feedback from buyers or from your dispo guys that are, you know, will tell you that information. So everything else, you know, it just kind of comes naturally nowadays. I've been doing it long enough.
And guys, sometimes you just have an intuitive gut feeling about some people, and that's a good shot that we left him at. But I already knew at this point I was just going to hire him. Again, usually my interviews don't go on for an hour. The last one was maybe 25 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. This one went on for an hour. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it's just because we were going over just all of his experience and I was getting comfortable with them. And I just knew he was going to be a good fit for one of our clients. Okay. And so he's still employed right now. He's been on board for about a month and maybe a week or so. And he's doing a great job. We love Carlos. So let me see if there's any other highlights here. And I'll.
If they're okay with the language in there, then you don't necessarily need to notarize it. But a lot of the flat fee MLS services will require notary, right? The flat fee ones. But when you're working with a realtor, generally they're okay with that because they know the seller. They're there. They're getting confirmation from the seller. Hey, yeah, I work with Carlos.
Pictures and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I work with Carlos. So then, you know, in those senses, as long as they feel comfortable and their listing broker feels comfortable with the language and everything that's been explained, then we'll do it that way. If not, then I'll get a mobile notary involved so they can sign the attorney, in fact, and then the listing documents as well, right? So
I like that. All right, my friend. So let's go ahead and get into it. Long-term employment. I mean, what are you looking for? A place where you can settle down, a place where you can level up your skills. Like what are you looking for as far as just employment going forward?
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, so I definitely want to level up. I'd like to coach. I'd like to teach other people. I'd like to help teams scale, which is why I was very interested in your company. So I really, as much as I do love acquisitions and I'm great at it, I'm looking to sooner or rather than later, get to a sales manager, directing or
Yeah.
training or coaching position.
Yes, yes, yes. And so that's what a lot of my clients need. They need like a sales manager, right? Somebody who can replace that owner, right? The owner's still going to be involved, but he's going to mastermind groups. He's getting education. He's focused on more of these like complex deals, maybe like 10 unit,
Duplexes, yeah,
or properties that have like multiple deals
yeah,
under.
10 doors, yeah.
So, and the whole goal is to hire somebody who could start off acquisitions, but immediately, really quickly go up to that level. And that's why we're having this conversation right now. So with that in mind, starting off in acquisitions, what's the salary that you'd be comfortable with?
So generally I'd like to be around 2,400 and above. So that's what, 2,400. That's about $28,000-$30,000 a year, at least, and then commissions. We're looking at, I guess everybody's handles it differently, but I'd like to be anywhere between the 7 and 8% commission.
Okay. So if my math is correct, 15 an hour.
More or less.
Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. So with 7% commissions.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we were to do that, and you were to do dispositions as well, would that encompass that? So acquisitions and dispo on novations, cash offers, finding realtors, everything we discussed.
No, if I'm doing both ends of a transaction, I probably want to get more in regards to commissions. This is just acquisitions.
Yeah. So the hourly, we could keep it at that, and then a higher rate for the commissions.
Hourly, that's fine, but in regards to acquisitions and doing dispo at the same time, it slows down the pipeline. So ideally, we want to get somebody in place to doing that sooner rather than later. I don't mind coming in and doing it right away, and helping these guys walk through their first deals. But it's something that they need to get someone in place, as soon as there's enough pipeline for it, because otherwise it just slows down the acquisition process a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that. So would you feel comfortable if we have applicants, you screening those applicants, saying similar to how we're having a conversation, because you're probably going to be directing that individual in dispo initially?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'm definitely fine. Okay with that. I'm done. Like I said, I'm fine with doing dispo and getting them started and making it work for them. But it's something that becomes a lot of work, right? You're trying to make 50, 60 phone calls on one end, and then you're trying to make 50, 60 phone calls on the other. And so I don't want things falling through the cracks in acquisitions, because I'm focused on dispo. So we'll do it for the first couple of deals. But once they have money on the table that they can hire somebody else to do so, they need to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Okay. So, okay, that sounds great. Question for you. So here's a scenario with a lot of my clients. I'm going in and they have a lot of leads, usually in high level, some sort of high level sub account, whether it be open dispo or REI reply. And like I present the scenario with you initially, is we have a ton of leads and we really don't know where the motivation is, right? Some of them may look like they're cold call leads. Some of them may actually have been just dropped off as far as they need to get underwritten. So it's going to be on you or whoever we bring in to actually go through and look at the notes, right? Look at the notes and make sure that just see where we're at and pick up where they left off, and then try to make a deal out of it. So initially, it'll probably be, while we're getting these people in place, yes, acquisitions, and then working on a dispo. We're not going to hold you to a certain number of calls if you have 2 deals under contract and then move those into dispo, because the whole goal here is to just get my clients some contracts in, deals out, right?
And then you're getting them off the ground, so they're getting cash flow.
Yeah, exactly. And then once we have that taken care of, it looks like we're making some movement, then we can hire that person. So I would say the first 30 days you'll be acquisitions and maybe dispo, and then we'll look at hiring somebody else, because they they just want to make sure when they're hiring team members, and they've been burned before by team members and stuff like that. They just want to make sure that they're getting some cash flow on the books before they start incurring a lot of costs, even though they can swing it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And no worries. I mean, in what I've done the past couple of years, especially the call center stuff, we're running show for people during COVID and all of that. It's all about helping people scale. So I got you.
Absolutely. Okay, so I have another interview I need to hop on. Do you have any questions for me at all?
Not for the time being, but this looks to be a good venture here, what you got going on. I would also be interested in working directly with you rather than going off for some other clients.
Yeah, and while we were talking, I was thinking about that as well, because I have a guy who's from the Philippines who's handling this part for me, but I really need somebody who could build up a sales team and really work in this hybrid position where you're the person that goes into my clients' businesses maybe for like the first 2 weeks, and then you're hiring the permanent team members, because that's really what I want that individual to do.
Yeah, I would love to do something like that, because I come in and I love that, because then I come in and I'm looking at where they need the most support. How do we get these people off the ground? Where are you lacking in terms of your process? Is it in sales? Is it in dispo? Is it in the acquisitions? Is it operations? Are you just unorganized? Do you need a personal assistant? Like, what is it that you need? And then we get them deals, we get them off the ground. Once they have enough money that they can build their team with, we help them build their team, we train, we coach their team, and then we continue with the follow-up and check in every week, but then we're on to the next. That's really, I dream myself of doing something like that. I've done acquisitions long enough, I've been doing like calls long enough. I want to come in, teach people how to do it. Like, hey, this is how you close deals, this is how you look for things in pipeline, get somebody in place, make sure they're good, get them closing deals, a couple of months working with a client and moving on to the other. That's my ideal scenario right now.
Yes, I really wanted to hire this guy in my company. I really did, but my clients come first. So this ain't Goodwill. I'm not getting the first pick of the litter, and then and then the customers get the second pick. No, he has a great home right now, and my client's fortunate to have him. Carlos, he's been really great for us. So we hired him shortly after that, and he's basically just been doing holding down acquisitions himself. He's not just a sales pitch. He didn't just give a good sales pitch. He's really solid, and he checked all the blocks for me. Okay, so guys, that's what we're looking for in an acquisitions manager. Guys, part of it is looking at the resume, but that's not it, guys. That's like maybe 20 to 25% of it. That's pre-screening. Okay, the other part of it is getting them on the call, making sure they don't have an accent. They're not going to have anything about their persons that is going to get in the way of them doing acquisitions, mainly their voice. If they're too ugly to look at, hey man, like I only allow beautiful people to work with me. Hey, that's just a standard. I look fly. I got to have fly people with me. My operations people, they're all women. They look good. Okay. That's just how we roll over here. Okay, you guys can have different standards, but I can't look at people that are ugly all day, every day. If you have a thick accent, I can't understand you. Hey, man, this isn't a business for you. This isn't a communist society. This isn't equality in my company. This is capitalism over here. And if I'm paying you the big bucks, I want exactly what I want. And I don't want to make any sacrifices, okay? So with that being said, he doesn't have anything that's intrusive that gets in the way. I love how he sounds. I love his voice. I love how he his demeanor. I really want to hire that guy on my team, but I get to work with him every day. And so we're on our 5th month with that client project. He came on about a month and a half ago. We've locked up several deals. Unfortunately, a lot of these deals are in the middle of nowhere because we're getting a lot of pay-per lead stuff, but still he's doing what he said he was going to do. So guys, those are the people that I'm hiring. So if you guys want to work with me and you guys want the real deal, and you guys want to work with somebody who's done hundreds of these interviews, guys, work with me. Click that little button up there. It's a QR code. Screenshot that with your phone. It'll take you to my form, and then I'll call you personally. Right? I don't have any VAs or anything like that calling you. I do that just all day, every day. I love it, love it, love it. So, guys, we're going on an hour, 30 minutes. Thank you guys for sticking with me this whole time. If you've been with me the whole time, I know Jermaine, you were. Anybody else who was here, I'm just going to actually just go through and put all the comments here from everybody. Okay. So Jermaine, All right, my guy, I need to go over this. So the next live, I might do this tomorrow morning, but I'm gonna have a heavy like day tomorrow, just doing like admin catch up and stuff. But I'm gonna like go on YouTube and copy this, and then we can talk about that. So you wanted me to go over the one more time how to pick your market and the zip codes. I was trying to find the video of you doing that live. Yeah, so that's going to be like an hour and 30-minute training. I would do that on this call. I got to stay on topic, and I got to get in bed in a little bit. But I just made a note, and I'll I might go live tomorrow on Saturday. Okay. But guys, you guys were great. If you guys have any questions, let me know. What do you guys think about that? Should I do more of that? You know, where I actually show you guys more of the behind the scenes. I know I didn't get to show you guys Indeed or ZipRecruiter, but if you guys like that, let me know, because that's something I love doing. I guess a couple notes while I'm waiting for you guys to comment here too. Biggest takeaways. Acquisitions manager, you have to define the role. What is that person going to do? Guys, this person is going to essentially be locking up deals for you. But again, it's not taking all the acquisitions off your plate. You still have to verify whether or not the deal you're contracting is at the right price, guys. So just because if I hire an acquisitions manager for you, or if you guys hire one for yourself, that doesn't mean you get to just kick up your feet and whistle Dixie and, you know, go to the gun range and just let your team run amok. That's not what this is. Guys, last week I was actually working on a deal when I was on my workcation in Miami. And I actually went and locked up a deal. It was a deal in Ohio, in Cleveland. I had power of attorney for it. But guess what? I was doing some closing documents for it because I had power of attorney. I was the only one who could basically do that stuff. So my VAs couldn't do it. My acquisitions people couldn't do it. I had to do that. That's $1,000 plus task. Now, have I been talking to the seller? I probably talked to the seller like maybe 3 or 4 times. But for the most part, my team were the ones talking to the seller, right? They talked to him over 50, 60 times. I talked to him 2 or 3 times. Does that mean I could have took myself completely out of the transaction and I just told my team just to figure it out? No, guys, you as a business owner still have to know what's going on in your business. You're still hands-on. You still have a daily job and role. Just like a CEO, you know, he's working probably 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Maybe some days he's working a little bit lighter. Maybe when he's working, it looks like he's playing around, or it looks like he's living a lavish life, but he's still working, even if he's on the golf course, trying to smooth people and trying to, you know, win over clients for the business. Say the Walmart CEO, he's out here flying on private jets, but he may be in New York one day talking to stockbrokers, and then he may be in Nicaragua the next day talking to coffee roasters, trying to negotiate the best price per pound for the coffees that he wants to put in the Southeast region in Walmart. But not to me, but to me when I was younger, and to a lot of laymen and women, it may look like that individual, he's just flying on a private jet and traveling. You know, he's doing work. It's just a different caliber of work. And he earned that type of work that he's doing. So as a business owner, just because your team is executing and doing a lot of these lower level tasks does not mean that you aren't working, right? Your work may look like, hey, going to a meetup in the middle of the day. With investors, or honestly just taking some time and chilling out. You had a long week. Hey, you want to get a drink in the middle of the day, get some margaritas with some friends and unwind. That's what keeps you up. That's what keeps you out of a stressful mindset. Guys, that's on you. Okay. All right. That's the job of the owner. But guys, our employees don't have to worry about if they're getting paid. They don't have to worry about if the lights are going to stay on. They don't have to worry about any of these things. Okay. But that's the stress that the owner takes on. So you deserve to move how you want to move. But does that mean you're going to completely let your foot off the gas and just relax? No. So if we hire acquisitions individuals, guys, this does not mean we're hiring these people and completely replacing them with us. Like, we're not making them the CEO. They're just doing a lot of the jobs that we were doing as a CEO of the company. So we're handing off a lot of the grunt work to them. And then we're still focused on the higher level CEO tasks. And then we have more time on our plate to relax, go to the library, go to Best Buy, you know, do whatever you want to do in your days, but also take on more work if you want to take on on more work to do $10,000 hour tasks, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 hour tasks. Okay. That's the role of the CEO, and that's the role of the acquisitions manager. Again, guys, I want to say this one more time. As an acquisitions manager, when you hire them, don't think that you're going to hire them and they're just going to completely take over everything in the business. And don't get ticked off when they are not, putting creative financing deals together on day one. If they're able to take off even 50% of the work on your plate, and they're just able to present cash offers to homeowners, or even prevent, let's just say you're generating 30 leads a week, prevent 20 of those leads from coming onto your plate. And the only thing that you're seeing are 10 leads. Guys, that takes time off your plate. So when we talk about automation and automating acquisitions, that's what we're doing. That's what I train my clients to do. Guys, when people work with me, they are working with me to learn how to be business owners, okay? They're not working with me to learn how to do acquisitions. You already know how to do that. I'm taking everything that you know and turning it into a system and then showing you how to scale. And guys, there's a lot of unlearning. There's a lot of leaving behind belief systems that aren't working with us. I'm almost like a savant, a therapist. People cry on the phone with me. I've had clients cry on the phone with me, guys. Not naming names, but listen, that's what it's about. I've had people confess just some very difficult times that they're going through, and that stays between me and them. I don't have any friends anyway, so it's not like I could talk their business. But my clients are my friends, basically. Guys, what I'm getting down to and what I'm saying here is that in order to get to where you want to be, what got you here won't get you there. What got you here, as far as some of the paradigms, aren't going to get you there to 4 or 5 deals a month. Every time you scale your business times 2, your systems fail and you have to almost rebuild from scratch. But wouldn't you much rather do that and it be worth something than to really do it because you don't have any leads in place and you focused on closing 3 deals and then you stop your marketing, right? We don't want to do that. The next time that you stop and have a hard stop, you want to really look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, if I'm going to do this wholesaling thing again, I'm going to do this real estate thing again, I'm getting older, my back's aching, it's taking me a little bit longer to get out of bed. I want to actually do it right the next time. Okay, guys? And so these are things I want you to think about. Again, you have a responsibility to your team members. So just because you're hiring somebody and you're paying them a salary does not mean you don't get to show up. Like you just don't show up in the morning or you push meetings back. No, guys, I'm there at 9 a.m. every day talking to my team members. They're saying, hey, good morning. I'm saying, hey, how's it going, team? How are you guys doing? Boom, plugged in. Okay. They're expecting me to be in that seat and they're expecting answers to their questions. So unless they realize, or I tell them ahead of time that I'm not going to be there, or again, I'm, on a call like this, I did a Facebook Live this morning. I'm going to tell them that. Okay. I'm going to let them know that ahead of time. All right, guys, I went on a little tangent. Again, that's just more like mindset stuff. Again, guys, I hope you guys found this valuable. Anybody that's watching the replay, thank you for watching it. Guys that watch this live and stick with me for an hour and 30 minutes, thank you. I will see you guys later. I might go live tomorrow morning, or I might just, I might call some of you guys personally like I did today. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys later, and I hope you have